Hello. So, in the last session, we have seen what is functional dependencies, right? Now, let us try to use them to develop a formal methodology for testing and improving relational schemas. So, we have a set of functional dependencies, and we have also designated some of the attributes as primary key for each relation, right? And these two information will be combined with some test or some conditions. Okay, so we will use these conditions to check whether our relational schemas are in some normal forms. And if they are not in some normal forms, we will decompose these relations so that they will be in a normal form. So why we are doing so? Why we are doing this normalization procedure? To make or to improve the quality of this relational schema design. Okay, so we will see what are normal forms and how the normalization procedure is done to improve the quality of a database schema. Okay, so what is normalization? So this normalization process first proposed by Code in 1972. It takes a relation schema through a series of tests to certify whether it satisfies a certain normal form. So usually this process proceeds in a top-down fashion. That is, it will take a schema, then decompose it into components. Okay. So it will evaluate each relation against the criteria for normal forms and decompose relations as necessary. So we can call it as a relation design by analysis. So initially Code proposed three different normal forms, 1NF, 2NF and 3NF. Okay. And later Boyce and Code together designed much more stronger normal form that is called BCNF, Boyce Codd normal form. So all these normal forms are based on a single analytical tool, the functional dependencies among the attributes of a relation. That is the main component of normalization. Later we have two more formal normal forms there, fourth normal form and fifth normal form. We will see all those things. These normal forms, that is fourth normal form and fifth normal forms, are based on the concepts of multi-value dependencies and joint dependencies. We will see all those things later. So normalization of data can be considered as a process of analyzing the given relation based on their functional dependencies and primary keys to achieve the desirable properties of minimizing redundancies and then minimizing insertion, deletion and updation anomalies, right? So it can be considered as a process of filtering or purifying to make the design better quality. So if the corresponding relation is unsatisfactory, that means it does not meet the condition for a normal form, we will decompose those relational schemas into smaller relational schemas so that it will now meet this criteria. Okay. Now the normal form definition. So if we say that a particular database schema is in a normal form, it refers to the highest normal form condition that it meets, and it indicates the degree to which it has been normalized. This, for example, if we say that a particular schema is in third normal form, okay, so that is the highest normalization procedure has been done. So implicitly it obeys with 1NF and 2NF. And also the process of normalization through decomposition must also confirm the existence of additional properties like lossless join and dependency preservation. Lossless join we have seen in the previous session about spurious tuples, right? So after the decomposition, we may have to combine these. We have to join these two tables together to get some information. If we do so, never generates spurious tuples. Such type of join is called lossless join. So whenever we decompose our relation schemas into components, it should always be lossless. And also the second property to be confirmed is a dependency preservation. That is, whatever functional dependencies we had earlier before decomposition, that should be preserved even after decomposing this relational schema. Lossless join property or non-additive join property is extremely critical and must be achieved at any cost. Okay. Whereas the dependency preservation property is desirable, but in some situation we may have to sacrifice it. It won't create much problem. Now about the practical use of normal forms. So most practical design projects in commercial or in governmental environment acquire their existing design from previous designs, right, or from existing files. So definitely they are interested in assuring that the designs are of good quality. So definitely they will evaluate their database schema by applying tests for normal forms, and certain normalization will be carried out to ensure that the designs are of high quality. And although several normal forms like higher normal forms like 4NF, 5NF are available, usually this normalization will be carried out up to 3NF or BCNF, okay, and rarely it goes up to 4NF. So the reason behind this is that the constraint on which they are based, this constraint on which the higher normal forms are based, are rare and also hard for the database designers and users to understand. So usually we will do the normalization up to this level, 3NF and BCNF. And another point to be noted is that database designers need not normalize to the highest possible normal form because of performance reasons. So the relations may be left in a lower normalization status even up to 2NF only because of performance issues. Another definition is denormalization. So denormalization is the process of storing the join of higher normal form relations as a base relations, which is in a lower normal form. So after decomposition, we'll have a set of relations, right? We may have to join together these relations. These individual relations will be in higher normal form. We will join together these relations to form a base relation, and we'll store the base relation, okay? And this resulting relation will be in a lower normal form, and that process is called denormalization. Now definitions of keys and attributes participating in keys. So we have already seen what is a key, super key and all, right? So before getting into this normal form, let us have a deep look into these definitions once more. So first one is super key. So before that, the capital R denotes a relational schema with attributes A1, A2 up to AN. And small r denotes the corresponding relation state. That is when we populate this schema with some data. The current instance of the corresponding schema is called the relation state, which is denoted by small r. Okay, so definitely it will contain a set of tuples. Now let us try to define the super key. So a super key of a relation schema R is a set of attributes S, which is a subset of the schema attribute set R, with the property that no two tuples T1 and T2 in any legal relation state R of the schema R will have this condition. That means if we take that super key set, no two different tuples will have the same super key. Okay. So such a set of attributes can be called as a super key. Whereas a key, which is denoted by capital K, is a super key with the additional property that removal of any attribute from this K will cause K not to be a super key anymore. Okay, we will see an example that will be clear more. So in our company database, the employee relation schema. Let's take that as an example. So SSN we have found as the key for this employee relation schema, right? Now this SSN, then SSN and ename together, and SSN, ename and birth date together. These three can be treated as super keys there. Okay, because it includes SSN. So definitely no two different tuples will have the same combination of any of these attribute sets, right? If you take SSN only, definitely those two different tuples will have different SSN because SSN is the key. What about SSN and ename together? That combination also, no two different tuples will have the same combination because SSN is unique. The same thing happens for SSN, ename and birthday. So we can say that all these three can be the super keys in the employee relation schema. Now, what about key? SSN is a key definitely, right? What about SSN and ename together combination? It's not a key because if we remove ename, then also that key property is there, right? So the key and super key, if we try to differentiate, key is the minimal set. That means if we remove some of the attributes from this key set, the key will not be valid anymore. The second case also, this SSN ename birth date also, it's not a key because if we remove the birth date, then also the key property is there. If we remove this ename and birth date also, then also it can be treated as a key, right? So that is the difference between a key and a super key. So in our example employee relation schema, we have the SSN as the primary keys, right? So we have only one candidate key here, so which is designated as the primary key, that is SSN. So we can say that SSN is the prime attribute because it's a member of the key. Other attributes like ename, birth date, etc. are non-prime attributes. Now if you think about this department locations, we have the attribute D number and D location together forms the key here. Only one key is here, that is the primary key. So we can say that department number and department location both are prime attributes. Now if we go through this work zone relation, the SSN together with the project number. This combination forms the primary key here. Only one key is here, that is SSN and P number combination. So both this SSN and P number are examples for prime attributes, whereas ours is a non-prime attribute. Let us take one more example, a student relational schema. So a student is a schema with these attributes: admission number, register number, Aadhaar number, name, date of birth, address, phone number, etc. So if we analyze this relation, we have a set of possible keys, right? Admission number can be treated as a key, register number can be treated as a key, Aadhaar number also can be treated as a key, right? So three possible candidate keys are there. So one of them can be assigned randomly as the primary key. So let us take this admission number as the primary key here. So admission number is the primary key, whereas register number, Aadhaar number both are secondary keys. Okay, so any attribute which is member of any of the candidate keys are called prime attributes. So in this case, admission number, register number, Aadhaar number, all the three are prime attributes, whereas the other name, date of birth, address, etc. are non-prime attributes. Okay. Now if you take the combination of admission number with name, is it a key? No, right? Because if we remove this name, then also it can be used to identify different tuples uniquely, right? Because admission number is unique for every person, every student, right? So we can say that admission number name, that combination is a super key, because if you take two different tuples, definitely this combination will be unique. Every tuple will have a unique combination. So it's a super key but not a key. Like that register number and phone number combination, that's also a super key because every two different student this combination will be different, right? But it's not a key because if you remove the phone number, then also that two different tuples will have unique register number. So admission number, name and date of birth, this is also an example for super key but not a key. So we have gone through different definitions we need in normalization procedure. So in the next session we will see what are normal forms and the normalization procedure also. Thank you.